Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So, lots of news coming out. Some of it is lovely to do with the real royals, some of it not so great with the annoying ex-royals, and some of it is actually pretty bad. Prince Harry left the royal family 5 years ago and he seems to be continuously hit with negative stories surrounding some of the organisations that he is affiliated to. But before we start talking about Harry, let's talk about Prince William, who is of course in every way possible the polar opposite to his brother. In fact, it's so hard now looking at who Prince William has become as he has grown into his role as the Prince of Wales, as the future king, a husband, a father, and then when you look at Harry, it's hard to recognise him as being from the same family anymore. Last week, Prince William paid a visit to Estonia for a few different engagements, which saw him, of course, meeting with the President of Estonia, Alar Karis. He paid a visit to Cleantech to learn about their new technologies to have a cleaner energy security, with Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania recently moving over to the European electricity supply. Now, the amount of people that have turned out yet again to meet the Prince of Wales honestly blew my mind a little bit. Everybody is just so happy to see him because they know how lovely he is. He doesn't just pose for selfies, he helps people take selfies. He literally grabs people's phones and takes the picture for them sometimes to make sure that they have got the perfect photograph to walk away with. I think that's wonderful. His interactions with members of the public has, I think it's increased and become so much more natural as his confidence has grown over the past decade. Prince William always makes sure that he spends as much time as possible between engagements saying hello to as many people that have turned out to greet him. It's one of the reasons that has earned him the nickname the King of Selfies. Prince William was in Estonia for a couple of days, and on a series of engagements he also had time to join in with a basketball game which was being played with some Ukrainian pupils who now attend school in Estonia. Whilst it looked to be fun conversations on the whole, we were reminded of the fact that there are so many people and so many children and young people that are displaced because of all of the conflicts that seem to be escalating. Many of the teenagers said that they don't know when they can go home, and to be honest, in some cases it's if they can ever go home. Prince William always comes across as so caring when discussing these sensitive issues, and this is why he makes such a great statesman. He has a deeply caring and compassionate nature and a side to him that is really obvious for those to see. He is genuine when he is asking about how people are generally doing. He wants to know if he can do anything to help others. Now, of course, the mainstream media, I have noticed, as have many of you, they seem hell-bent on trying to use the monarchy of late with their warmongering storylines. Prince William was not sending any sort of message to Russia or to Vladimir Putin. He was simply visiting the Mercian regiment, of which he is the colonel-in-chief. He has visited the regiment countless times, as did his father before him. The prince took part in trench warfare exercises alongside British troops in Estonia, taking a ride in 2 separate tanks surrounded by gunfire and lots of smoke from the grenade exercises. He joked with the soldiers later that he think he churned up quite a lot of mud and left quite a bit of mess as he drove the tanks about. After the field exercises, he spent time in the Navy, Army and Air Force Institute's canteen to talk to NATO troops alongside the Mercian regiment to learn about how they are all coping in these, I'd imagine, an incredibly stressful situation with every day with it seemingly escalating. But it wasn't all seriousness, as the prince took part in a game of table football and also had a game of pool. Whilst chatting, he found out that they were in desperate need of a supply fridge, which the prince has said that he will be organising for them alongside a toasty maker. Because let's be honest, no matter what your job is, when you're tired and you're feeling a bit weary, there is nothing that a cheese toasty cannot fix. Now, speaking of being tired and weary, oh, I am so sick of the continuous daily posts on Instagram from Meghan. It's the podcast, it's what she's launching, it's what she's wearing, it's what she's picking in the garden. I'm at a point where I'm completely oversaturated with it. But as I said at the beginning of this video, luckily for you guys, this is less about her and more about the younger brother of the future king, who has yet again got himself into a spot of bother, which he seems to be trying to wash his hands of. Yesterday, a story broke about Sentebale. This is the charity that was set up by Prince Harry and also Prince Sisu of Lesotho in 2006 in honour of their late mothers. It was set up to help young children and young people in Lesotho and Botswana to provide health and social care, especially to those affected by HIV and AIDS. For many years, we saw the big charity polo fundraisers organised in most part by the royal households. Prince William often took part alongside his brother, and the huge sums that were raised were often split between the Tusk Trust, Sentebale, Well Child and the Royal Marsden Hospital. Since leaving the royal family, Harry has jet-setted around the world, playing with his long-term friend Nacho, another event that Meghan seemed hell-bent on making all about her, and it was also the very event and organisation where we saw Meghan embarrassing herself last year, where she was rude to Sentebale chairwoman Dr. Sophie Chandauka. This is where Meghan would not let the chairwoman stand next to Harry and repeatedly barked at her and told her where she could stand 3 or 4 times until she had to climb underneath the trophy to make Meghan happy. Well, Dr. Sophie is the woman who seems to be the whistleblower on the latest drama surrounding Harry and the organisations that he's linked to. The Times newspaper broke the story that said that the devastated prince, alongside Prince Siso, had stepped down as patrons in solidarity with the former trustees of Sentebale. Now, I knew that there was trouble brewing several months ago because there were too many people stepping down in quick succession. You had a series of senior staffers quit at short notice. You had Richard Miller, Baroness Chalker, Johnny Hornby and Andrew Tucker. Many had been involved with the organisation for a large number of years. And of course, this raised a few eyebrows that there was a storm, in fact, brewing. And on Monday, another lifelong friend of Harry's, someone who was actually an equerry for his father, King Charles, who Harry once called a second dad. I mean, let's be honest, Harry throws that term around quite loosely these days. It seems to be anybody that could be beneficial to him. I guess he's learning from his wife. But I have to say, Mark Dyer in a few photographs actually looks more like Harry than what Charles sometimes does. No, I'm not starting rumours. I believe that King Charles is Harry's father. But it's very telling that he also stepped down alongside the 4 other board trustees. Now, it's not just the fact that they all stepped down, it's the shocking statement which throws Dr. Sophie Chandauka under the bus. They make it so clear that there can be no misconceptions as to who they all believe is to blame with this latest fallout within the organisation that has seen many people quit and then new people be appointed. Now, I am just going to give you a brief summary because, well, we don't have all day. With heavy hearts, we have resigned from our roles as patrons of the organisation until further notice, in support of and in solidarity with the Board of Trustees, who have had to do the same. It's devastating that the relationship between the charity's trustees and the chair of the board, this is obviously Dr. Sophie, broke down beyond repair. These trustees acted in the best interest of the charity, asking the chair to step down. In turn, she sued the charity to remain in this voluntary position. What has transpired is unthinkable. We are in shock that we have to do this. Today's decision is nothing short of devastating for all of us, but we see no path forward as the result of our loss in trust and confidence in the chair of the board. As I said, very damning. There is no chance that you could be mistaken whatsoever that they are blaming everything on this woman. So let's talk about Chairwoman Dr. Sophie. Not only is she the chairwoman of Sentebale, she is also co-founder of Nandi Life Sciences, a US-based company with a portfolio of companies that have raised over 50 million to support scientific founders and developing therapeutics for oncology, autoimmune and rare diseases. She is also a corporate finance attorney that has over a 20-year executive career career spanning across legal, strategy, operational functions, technology and investment banking. She has numerous industry awards and has featured in the Financial Times, the Washington Post, the Telegraph and the Sunday Times, just to name a few. She is also chair of the Black British Business Awards and the Network of Networks. She is a highly educated woman and very experienced in business and in all of the fields of which she has been appointed. And in 2021, she was recognised by Queen Elizabeth II in her birthday honours list, and she was given an MBE. So this is a very damaging statement to get out quickly, using the media to damage Dr. Sophie before even the investigation had made it into the newspapers. Because this is the thing, Sentebale is now under a Charity Commission investigation. But it was actually Dr. Sophie who initiated it. Harry's visit to Sentebale in October last year was the first time that he'd bothered to visit Sentebale, I think in over 6 years. He left the royal family 5 years ago, and alongside leaving the royals, his fundraising efforts have certainly been in decline for the few remaining charities and organisations that he's affiliated with. It's like all of the organisations that he still supposedly praises and loves on the odd occasion when he needs a PR boost, he doesn't really seem to bother with unless he and Meghan are getting some bad press. Then, oh, it's Well Child again. Oh, it's Scotty's Little Soldiers. He does the absolute bare minimum for them, but makes sure he gets his face in the newspapers with each and every post. So my theory on this is, what did Dr. Sophie potentially uncover? Did Dr. Sophie see something that she wasn't meant to? Or did it become apparent that she was asking too many questions? The board tried to get rid of her, to silence her, but because she is well versed in law, she seemed to know the fact that she had the law on her side. She dug her heels in, and voila, it has now snowballed into this big dramatic storyline. She obviously feels strongly enough that the law is on her side, otherwise why would she be the one that called for the investigation to happen? And not only that, she has come back with her very own statement that is incredibly damaging towards the organisation, but also directly hitting Harry where it hurts. Everything that I do at Sentebale is in pursuit of the integrity of the organisation, its mission and the young people we serve. My actions are guided by the principles of fairness and equitable treatment for all, regardless of social status or financial means. There are people in this world who behave as though they are above the law and mistreat people, and then play the victim card and use the very press they disdain to harm people who have the courage to challenge their conduct. Well, that's hit number one, because we all know that it's Harry's vengeance against the press, and now he's gone running to them to launch the first attack. Discerning readers will ask themselves, why would the chair of the board report her own trustees to the Charity Commission? Why would the High Court of England and Wales accept her application to hear the matter at all if the case had no merit? Well, because beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to press is the story of a woman who dared to blow the whistle about issues of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, misogynoir, and the cover-up that ensued. I could be anyone. That is damaging on the whole organisation. But again, obviously Harry. For me, this is not a vanity project from which I can resign when I am called to account. I am an African who has the privilege of a world-class education and career. I will not be intimidated. I must stand for something. I stand for those other women who do not have the ways and the means. I'm sorry, but with those two statements, obviously I have no idea of what is going on. But that to me is a woman who is batting back and saying, I uncovered something and now they are trying to destroy me publicly. And she's right, the hypocrisy of Harry. He hates the media until it suits him. As of yesterday, Sentebale had confirmed that they had yet to still receive any official resignation from either prince. It seems that only the Times were told that they were stepping down in solidarity with the trustees, making it seem more like that they were virtue signalling to add weight to their statement, which clearly blames Dr. Sophie Chandauka for the fallout. I guess I don't need to remind many of you the amount of instances where Harry has come across as racist himself over the years. He has been caught up in more ignorant and racist incidents than any other royal of his generation or the one above. I like the fact that she said that I am not going to be intimidated and I understand the law. That's basically what she said. Bring it on. The fact is that she's already got a board in place taking care of business and these other people have quit. Now, obviously, as I said, I have got no idea what has gone on, but reading the two statements, at this time, it looks to me that there is something, I would say, definitely shady within the organisation. Many people have said and implied it previously. In 2008, it was reported that the charity only spent £84,000 on children and young people despite raising 1.5 million. A luxury home went to the director, a fleet of 4x4s, 250,000 on staffing costs, nearly saw the charity shut down before it had even really begun. So as I said, it's not like Sentebale haven't been in trouble before. So with this obviously coming out, all I can think of, in all honesty, is I really wish that they had somebody with that level of integrity willing to speak out and to fight and to go against the board members at African parks. An organisation which has been accused, its rangers on the ground, accused of committing awful, disgusting human rights atrocities against the indigenous people that live in the areas that they are meant to be helping. Harry had no scruples then when those stories came out. Where was his stories of being devastated and heartbroken as the stories came out of the horrors that were being committed against the Baka people? Harry is still on the board of directors and he was still promoting that organisation in New York last year. But you can see a lot from the photograph of all of the board of directors, can't you? So of course, with Harry being called a racist yet again, I mean, come on, this isn't his first rodeo, and accusations of bullying and misogyny, this isn't going to work too well with his wife's brand, who I must say had exceptional and convenient timing to release to the world the amazing news that we can all sleep at night. There is no breakfast wars, there is no celebrity beef between Meghan and Gwyneth Paltrow. No, the two women got together to do a surprise video with Gwyneth in her kitchen, and she pans the camera round to Meghan sitting there pulling faces, thankfully silent for a change, as they shared breakfast together. I could almost feel a collective sigh going around the world. Honestly, I can't help but feel one of two things. One, this is a WME stunt because Gwyneth Paltrow is represented by, of course, William Morris Endeavour. Number two is the fact that Meghan would do absolutely anything to try and take attention away from her husband's latest scandal, wouldn't she? And I just can't help but feel this was a last-minute attempt of don't look that way, look this way. And the problem is we've been so oversaturated with Meghan Markle since the 1st of January that if Meghan ran around with her knickers on her head, people still would not care at this point. However, what people are quite interested to see is Harry being called to account by someone so very publicly. These accusations are not going to go away just because Harry, along with the other trustees, has stepped down. And it seems that Dr. Sophie Chandauka means business. So guys, tell me your thoughts on this one. I mean, obviously we don't know the facts yet, but I'd love to know which way you're inclined to believe. Do you think that Harry and the trustees have been up to some shady shenanigans and Dr. Sophie uncovered something that she shouldn't? Or do you believe their statement that she is actually just a woman that is power hungry and determined to tear down the organisation for her own selfish needs? Answers on a postcard, or even better, in the comments section. So I will be back with you very soon, where we will be talking about books, babies, birthdays, and the great big goop dupe. So guys, I will see you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.